Arizona State Senator Sylvia Allen has proposed a bill that would prohibit any sex education for students under the age of 12. So, first of all, a 12-year-old is already what they call a tween, and they know about everything by then, don't they? And not necessarily the right way.
Yeah.
So do you think the conversation should start earlier? At what age should a child be, should you talk about sex to your children?
My mom told me when I was like maybe 7.
What'd she say?
Wow. She said, this is how babies are made, and respect your body, and don't anybody touch your private parts. You know, the usual, the swimsuit talk about the private parts. Oh. And listen, I feel like...
There's a swimsuit talk?
There's a swimsuit. You can't touch nowhere where the swimsuit touches.
Oh.
Yeah, never heard that? No.
So if you but I'm going to use that.
That's perfect. Like, don't let anybody... There you go with the applause. All right, friend. But yeah, you don't make sure that no one ever touches you where a swimsuit touches.
Since I wear a burkini that goes from my head all the way down to my feet.
Same, sis, same. Nobody's even touching my ankles, honey. I cover everything. But yeah, so I learned it at a young age, and then it's not scary, and then you're also not running the risk of finding out from, on TV or a friend or this. Teaches a lot of kids about it in the wrong way.
So I just went through this because I have a 13-year-old and a 17-year-old, right? And my parents said Zippo to me.
What?
Zip.
Right.
Girl.
And they gave me the Life Cycle series. And that's how I found out about it, right? I asked questions, and then I got the Life Cycle series.
No, you
so I kind of taught myself.
Girl, somehow you figured it out.
I figured it out, but I figured it out late, actually.
Yeah.
And I was just told no sex before marriage, and that was it.
And so same thing with
and I tried that with my kids. You know, no sex before marriage. We're Catholic, and they were like, type thing. And so my kids' school taught sex ed in 4th grade. And I was horrified.
That's 9.
And I went to the school, and I made a big deal.
And
now I do believe that 4th grade is about the appropriate time to start talking to your children. And my son started asking me questions when he was probably around 8 years old. And I tried to punt it to the doctor in the family, and it came right back to
I want to warn people about this movie, Love Actually, which is such a great film for kids to watch, except there's an incredibly pornographic scene in it. And you're watching it, and they're singing, like, you know, they're... And then all of a sudden, well, there's these two guys, a woman and a man who are making a porn video.
Oh, I do? Yes.
Oh, I remember that.
Right?
Okay.
And all of a sudden, we're watching it with the kid, and all of a sudden that comes up and he's like, give me the remote, where's the remote? Hurry up, give me the remote.
Wow. And Luca's 8, right?
He's 8.
And you can't even watch the news right now without hearing about it, right?
That reminds me of my upbringing, because I grew up also very religious, and my mom, Mormon, she did give me the talk, and I'll never forget, because you never forget those talks, and she took me to get an ice cream cone, and it was a weird conversation. I was probably 10, 11.
And what did she say?
But she literally did the birds and the bees conversation.
The birds and the bees?
The actual one.
What flavor was the ice cream?
Mint chocolate chip.
See, you remember
Because I remember exactly where we were sitting. But the movie thing reminds me, because of my upbringing, whenever things came on, they would kind of remove you from that. And so I always thought it was a bad thing. I thought sex was a bad thing. And so by the time I actually met my husband...
It's a bad thing if you're doing it right.
It was very uncomfortable. Like, in my mind, I always thought... So it was a tough transition for me to make. So I do think we need sex ed, because parents don't always talk, but you also have to have a healthy relationship with it, or else it's a very tough transition.
Well, look, I suspect that the conversation you have with a kid in 4th grade is different than a conversation you have with a 13-year-old. But we also have to admit that today's day and what kids are exposed to from a very early age is very different than what some of us
Look at porn
grew up,
online.
right?
It's terrible. That's the thing, and pornography is actually one of the highest in my state of Utah, where, you know, there are a lot of...
nobody's talking about it because they're trying to figure out what it is.
And there's nowhere to go,
right.
and so you can secretly go on there and find it.
What did I say? She was a congresswoman, I believe?
No. She's like a state senator.
Oh, state senator. She also wants to take the word homosexuality out of all the books and everything.
That makes it worse.
As
the
if,
word?
You know
Let me
what?
tell you something. Everybody that comes out against homosexuality's got stuff going on.
Something's going on. Got some
What is
questions.
taking the word
Exactly.
out? What does that do? I don't understand.
Well, gee, the word's not in there, so I guess I'm not gay. That's what they think.
You know what? That hurts so many people that are figuring themselves out. It makes it that much harder for them, because then they end up hating themselves, saying, well, they're not allowed to talk about it, so there's something wrong with me.
These people,
that is
don't
terrible.
listen to any of these crazy people.